Hello kids and welcome back to a new video. This is teacher Farah Zuraiki from Oxford Schools and I hope you're doing super well. Alright, today we will start with Yeh Shen, and in this video we will explain the target strategy and skill in pages 454 and 456. I hope you already got your book, prepared yourself for this video. Now let's get started. The first thing is read and comprehend. We will now read about the target skill. In the target skill, we will be talking about the sequence of events. Some things occur at first and then they happen later on, and then things happen at the end. For example, this ice cream was very firm and cold, and once it got warmer and warmer, it started wilting and melting down. So this sequence of events, an author of a story often tells story events in the order that they happen. The order in which events happen is called the sequence of events. Thinking about the story events that can help you understand the author's message or what you can learn from the story. Put events in order in a chart like this one below. So, most authors often they deliver a message through their text or their story or whatever they're writing. Why? Because there is a purpose of writing this text or this story. To understand more, you can divide the events in first, next, and last. Once you put the events in time order, things will become clearer, things will become easier. Okay, the target strategy is to analyze and evaluate. To analyze as you read, think about the author's words and story events. Then evaluate or decide how the words and events help you know what is important in the story. So, the author will mention a lot of stuff, everything, what happened, and some extra details. You, as a reader, you'll analyze. Which points were important and which ones were just like to fill the story. You'll be able to evaluate and analyze the events to understand more, to comprehend, and to absorb the story and the events that are important. Once you sequence, you'll be able to know that we have many steps in sequencing. For example, sequencing. For example, here we have jam and peanut butter. And then here, for example, we cut the first we have the ingredients, a knife, peanut butter, and jam. Second, we cut the bread. Next, we, for example, spread the peanut butter and jam on the toast on each side. Then we, for example, put the jam bread on top of the butter bread, and then we cut them in halves. Finally, we eat the sandwich. So these words are sequencing words. They will help you to sequence the events of the story. Read the topic. Now we need to preview the topic. The topic talks about all about traditional stories. People have been telling traditional stories for many years. One kind of traditional story is a fairy tale. So fairy tales are a type of traditional stories that have been told from one generation to another and passed on among these generations. So, one kind of traditional story is a fairy tale. We will later on know what is the meaning of fairy tale. Fairy tales tell about events that could not happen in real life. So, this story is impossible to have in real life. The story often teaches a lesson. So, there's a purpose of this story. Fairy tales usually have a happy ending. You will read a fairy tale about a young girl in Yeh Shen. Alright? Well, I think I preferred this one over all of them. Meet the illustrator, Jill Dubin. Sorry. Jubin. Jubin always loved art, even as a child. She and her sister used to spend hours making dolls out of paper. Miss Dubbin used paper to make the pictures for Yeh Shen. First, they sketched each picture. Next, she picked pieces of paper with different colors and patterns. She cut out pieces of the paper and placed them onto the sketches. The backgrounds and the characters' clothes are all different. Pieces of paper glued together. Nice. Also notice that they have used a lot of sequencing words like first and next. Okay. Again, kids, remember the target skill is sequence of events. What happens at first, what happens later on, and what happened in the end. This story belongs to a fairy tale genre. What does that mean? A fairy tale is a make-believe story that has been told for many years. How is it told for many years? It is passed on from one generation to another. Every generation, for example, the grandma tells her daughter, the daughter becomes an adult and becomes a mother, then she tells her granddaughter, for example. And this is how stories are passed on from one generation to another. How do we know if this story is a fairy tale or not? You will find that the characters who would not exist in real life, and you will find a happy ending. This story will happen in the ending. A very happy ending will happen, and the characters would not exist in real life because it is non-real. It is a fairy tale, as an imaginary tale. Yet it is written for a purpose that is delivered throughout this story. This is it for today's video. Thank you for watching, kids.